everybody, this is Sean from the Dukes of Dice, and today I'm going to take a look at Tomb Trader. This is published by Level 99 Games. It's designed by Asher Stolman, and it is a fairly quick, light negotiation game where you're taking on the role of a pulp-era adventurer who's delving into the tomb, trying to find treasure. What's cool is it has some kind of hidden objectives so that certain treasures might be worth more to you than others. But ultimately, this is all about negotiating with your other adventurers to see who can get the most loot out of the tomb. So I'm going to show you how to play with 3 players, and then I'll come back for my first impressions. So I've got Tomb Trader here set up for 4 players. Every player has their own character card. They each are going to get 2 cards, one that says outside the tomb and one that says inside the tomb. In addition, everyone gets 3 coins to start. A coin is worth a point at the end of the game, but it can also be used throughout the game to trade, to make some deals more palatable to other players. So let's take a look at one of the player cards. Now these are kept secret from the other players, but basically it's going to give each player some sort of secret incentive to get certain types of items. So all of these items that are listed here are going to be worth bonus points to the gambler at the end of the game if they're able to actually acquire them. All right, so in addition to all the players set up, I have the deck, which is going to have all of the various treasure cards. And they get shuffled up before the game. And then there's also this player aid. And on one side, it's 3 to 4 players. Other side, it's 5 to 6 players. And basically what this does is it tells you how many rounds there are. And in each round, how many treasures you put on the inner tomb versus the outer tomb. So for example, in the first round, we're going to put 3 cards on the outer tomb. And we're going to put 2 cards in the inner tomb. Okay, so I've got the first round set up here with all of the different items. A trinket just worth 1 point. The bone dice is worth 2, and it's going to be worth bonus points if you're this character. So it kind of tells you, lets you know how many characters might be interested in that particular item. This also has a special ability. You're able to flip a coin, and if it comes up heads, it's worth 2 extra points. So that's pretty interesting. Notice there's the Cursed Jar, which is worth a negative point, although it's worth some points to one of the adventurers. The reason that this is important is because every card has to be taken. If someone doesn't agree to take this card, then the whole deal is going to be off. And then we have a card like this, the Treasure Map, which is worth more points as a set. So the more of these collect, the more they're going to be worth. All right, so let's talk about an example round. So remember, my gambler is really interested in that lucky rock. So what's going to happen is simultaneously everyone's going to turn over their inside tomb, outside tomb cards. They're going to shuffle them up. Then they're going to pick one, put it down. So now everyone flips at the same time. She flips outside. And for ease of explanation, let's say that this character also picked outside and these 2 characters picked inside. So now we set a 1-minute timer. At the end of this minute, people on the inner tomb and the outer tomb have to come up with a decision that they're all going to take a certain number of cards. So now they begin to negotiate. And the gambler says, tell you what, let's do this. I'll give you the bone dice and the trinket if you give me the lucky rock, right? So that would be the proposed breakdown. That's worth 3 points for the gambler, although we know it's actually going to be worth more because the gambler is going to get a bonus 2 points for the lucky rock. And this character over here, who by the way is the hunter, doesn't really care about much of this, but they're thinking, well, it's 3 points, maybe 5 if I get the right flip. So that seems like a pretty good deal, but maybe the hunter wants to play hardball and says, tell you what, I'll do this, but you have to give me $1. So basically he's saying that the gambler would have to throw $1 in. So the hunter would get these, one of her dollars, and then the gambler gets the lucky rock. So that's the choice. And they can negotiate back and forth. She could play hardball too and say, no way, that's the deal, take it or leave it. And eventually, if they don't come up with anything, then everything gets discarded and they get nothing. So let's say that she decides, nah, you know what, I'm not going to throw in $1. I'd rather see this all get trashed than give you an extra buck. So the hunter says, okay, sure. He takes these, puts these face down. They're secret for him for the rest of the game. The gambler takes her lucky rock. Over here, we have an interesting decision. In fact, I'm not quite sure why anyone would want to go here, but that's okay. So the cursed jar and the treasure map. Now, how is this going to get negotiated? Because certainly no one wants the cursed jar, and potentially both would really be interested in the treasure map. So let's take a look at this player here. This is the alchemist, and if you look at the bottom, the alchemist gets +2 points for each jar. So there is some incentive to get that. But maybe they're going to want to act like it's really a hindrance to them. So the alchemist tells the other player, tell you what, I'll take the cursed jar if you give me $3. So that would be the proposal. That way the alchemist gets 2 on the face of it. And the treasure map is worth at least 1 point, 3 points if you've got a set. And the potential there is huge. If you take a look, if you're able to get all of the treasure maps, it's worth 21 points. So that's definitely quite a lot. And this player says, yeah, I want to pay you 3, but I'd pay you 2. And the alchemist says, deal. So gets the other 2. This goes here. They're now, if you notice, they are -1, +2 for the coins. So they're actually +1 and then plus another 2 for their alchemist ability. So now the next round will begin. And in the second round, we're going to put 3 here in the outer tomb. Oh boy, that's a lot of treasure maps. And then we're going to put 2 in the inner tomb again. And same thing. So we're going to keep negotiating. Let's say now that everyone is really interested in these treasure maps over here, especially this player here. So they all shuffle up their inside-outside cards. They reveal them simultaneously. And let's say the gambler decides to go here, but everyone else goes over here. Well, that's great for the gambler. The gambler gets both of these things. And what's nice is this one says it's an extra value. It's an extra 3 points if you also happen to have the lucky rock at the end of the game. So this is worth 1 plus another 3, 4, 5, 6 to the gambler's score at the end of the game. That's a pretty good round for the gambler. And now everyone else over here has to decide how they're going to divvy these up. And certainly if everyone's remembered that this player already has at least 1 treasure map. So either they're going to try and make sure he doesn't get it, or they're going to try and make him pay. So perhaps they all say, look, if you get this, you also have to pay one of us $1. And this will go here, and this will go here, for example. And he really wants the treasure map. And so now it's a matter of saying, I'll pay you or you, because you only have the 1 coin left. And now maybe these two have to come up with some kind of an agreement. But really what it comes down to is trying to remember what other people have, considering what character there might be, in order to make sure that you're not just giving them as many points as possible and you're still getting good deals in the process. So we're going to continue through all of the rounds. At the end, we add up our gold, we add up all the points on the treasures we've collected, and we add up any bonuses on our characters. Whoever has the most points is the winner of Tomb Trader. All right, so final thoughts on Tomb Trader. But first, real quick, observant viewers will note that my shirt has changed. I wonder why that is. If you have any guesses, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But anyway, let's talk about Tomb Trader. So this game is really good. I like this quite a bit. I love negotiation games. They're kind of in my wheelhouse and I feel pretty good at them. This is a very light, quick version of that, as you saw in the rules overview. Certainly having the secret identity where the certain cards or certain items are worth more to you is a nice way to alter the value of things. So a hat might be worth 2 points for everyone else, but for a particular adventurer, it's going to be worth more. And so what that does is that kind of shakes up the negotiations so that you're not quite sure what face value is on these things, even though it's printed right there, oh, it's worth this much. And it's nice too that each item kind of gives you an indication of which adventurers it's going to benefit more. So like, for example, the snake jar has 3 people on it, whereas the adventure hat only has 1 person on it. And why that's useful, of course, is because oh, well, it's more likely that this is going to benefit a wider group of adventurers than the adventure had. So that's interesting information. The fact that it's timed and there's that real-time element to it and you have to, we got to do something, is really exciting. And we've talked on the podcast before about, Alex brought it up, some game show where you have to agree how to split a certain amount of money, and it starts off at like $20,000. Okay, well, we could both just take 10,000 to be done with it, or we could say, oh no, I'll take 15, you take 5. But the thing is, as time runs down, it becomes worth less and less, till eventually, if time runs out, everyone gets nothing. So everyone has to come together on this deal, and it's hard to create that tension, but this game does that, because that minute will go by really quickly, and you don't want to walk away with it with nothing, because especially if you're over here in the inner tomb and the group over there in the outer tomb has come up with a deal, you don't want to be left behind. You don't want to be around behind the other group. So you may take something that's not quite as good, or you may sweeten the pot by adding coins. Lots of cool decisions here, and it plays really quick. You could play this, several games in a row because it's such a quick game, and it's really entertaining. A lot of fun. Art is really cool. The overall design of this, I think, is just really solid. Like I said before, that the special characters really kind of spice up that negotiation for you. So I'm really excited to play more of this game. My first impression of Tomb Trader is really strong. I think this is a fantastic game, especially if you like negotiation, especially if you like a little bit of bluffing. I think that this is something you should definitely check out. I'm glad I've had a chance to. I'm excited for more plays of it. So that is Tomb Trader from Level 99 Games. Be sure to subscribe below, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, listen to our weekly podcast. We'd appreciate all of that. Until next time, this is Sean, and I'll catch you later.